Hello everybody, good evening. We are here to start the Nightmare Before Christmas craft. I need to just go find my video real quick, so give me a second. And if you haven't yet, hopefully you are prepping your canvases because that's going to be important, and drawing them up. I traced mine already, so to save time. So hopefully, real quick, so give me a second. There we go. Hopefully you guys are all set. All right, so I already traced mine out, like I said, and I used a paint pen. So I'm actually, after we're done painting the background, I have, it's an acrylic paint pen. I might use this just for quickness or whatever, but if you can get one of these, or if you have a permanent marker, you can use some of them for the silhouettes. Like specifically this one's a silhouette, and I think we're doing this one as a silhouette. So up to you, okay? So I have all my paints ready. My desk is slanted, so they're kind of going together, but I got all my colors together. I'm going to use some different paints this time for some accent type things. So for Oogie Boogie, I'm going to use a glow-in-the-dark paint. I'm going to do a green paint and then go over it with this, so you can do something like that. And I'm also, for Sally's hair, I'm going to use like a metallic red, so just to give it a little bit of pop. And then I already cut my strips of ribbon. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 3 canvases on one ribbon, so you can hang them together. So I already cut that out, and it's set for when we need it, okay? So we'll go ahead and get started. I think the easiest one to do will probably be the silhouette ones. I'm going to actually do Oogie Boogie first, so we'll go ahead and start with that. So I'm just going to stack these up and move them out of the way and get started. So for his background, I'm probably going to do some blues and purples, mostly black though. So, and then instead of the circle, because I didn't quite center it, I'm actually just going to make him go on this corner here. So I'm going to cover this circle up, okay? So I think I'm just going to actually just do black. So let me get started with that. And for this, I'm going to use a flat brush. So I have a flat brush here just to cover more area, okay? So get in that paint. You don't have to wet your brush yet. And I'm just gonna get started on the background. Reason I'm doing black instead of the purples and stuff is just so I make sure I can cover that pencil marks, okay? And I'm gonna cover them all the way to the edge because this is gonna be a craft, so you're gonna be hanging this up. So make sure you get those edges covered, okay? So come in here. And I already did some fall painting, like I did the trees, and I actually did a big canvas with glitter pumpkins and stuff. I can post that later and show you guys what I did, but that one was a lot of fun. So take your time, try not to go over your lines, except for I'm trying to get that circle, so. And the reason I did a live today instead of doing pre-recorded was because the last time we had some difficulty with editing. So I was just like, oh, I'll just do it live this time. So hopefully you guys can follow along. If not, it'll be posted later, so you guys can go ahead and do it that way. If you like need to go back and see some stuff. So just cover these. So my canvases I got on Amazon. You can get these little small, I think they're 4x4. You can get these small canvases at Walmart too, if you're just logging on and not participating in the painting and you want to do it later. That's where you can get the canvases at. All right, I have to go in here, so I'm gonna try to go really slow and just kind of edge that color in there. I don't want to, and I'm using it like this, so it has the thinnest part of the brush, okay? And just kind of tap it in there. All right. So there's the background, and he should be good. Okay, so what I'm going to do before I do the glow in the dark paint is I'm going to put a different green on him, and then I'm going to go back and put the glow in the dark paint, because I had done the outline on that part and I want to cover that first. Okay, so we should be good now. All right, so now I'm going to paint him with the green. Rinse this brush out, and I have like a, it's kind of like a, what I want to say, like a moss green or something. Oh, it's called marsh green. Close enough. So this, I'm not going to use this particular brush. I'm actually going to go in with a round tip brush, because I can have it pointed a little bit more, and I'm going to go in with some color. Actually, I'm going to use a little bit bigger one. So hold on, there's a hair. Not that one then. Goodness gracious, there we go. All right, so I'm going to use a bigger one and dip into that green and just cover him. And see, that's why I did it darker with the marker, so that when I go back I can do his face. So I'm probably going to have to cover these lines a little bit more, but with the paint marker, that's why I did that black in there, so I can really see him, his face, when I go back. So this is just a fun little craft idea I saw on Pinterest, but I varied it a little bit just so it's not scary. I mean, Oogie Boogie's probably the scariest thing on here, but I'm not a very scary person, so despite the fact that I have like skull pen holders and everything, but this is a fun little craft to do. And if you have kids, you could probably do this pretty easily with some kids too, if you've already like etched everything out, and it's kind of like coloring in the lines. So, all right, cover his face. Now this is the part where it gets, you have to be careful. That's why the round brush is good for this part, because you can almost pencil tip that point out and yet still cover a good portion of the area. I was a little afraid I wasn't going to be able to do this today because my left arm, but I'm glad my right arm's good today. But I've been looking forward to this craft, so I was excited. Alright, now I'm just going to keep covering until he's good to go. Alright. So for these, if you wanted to add, like, you know, some embellishments, like little jewels and stuff like that, some bling, you can do that too. I have a bunch of that stuff. It'd be fun to do. But I figured glow-in-the-dark paint would be fun. I did that on that painting I said with the glitter pumpkin. I have a lantern that has glow-in-the-dark paint in there. The kids really thought that was cool. And there we go. And you can get that glow-in-the-dark paint at like Walmart for really cheap, so if you're looking. Unfortunately, when I went, they only had 2 colors, so I think green is a big one, and then I got the neutral, which you can use with almost any paint. Kind of just comes up almost clear. Alright, there he goes. So he's good. I'm going to set him to the side and let him dry while we work on another one. Okay, make sure I got no white showing on the sides here. Okay, and then come back. All right. There we go. Okay, and then I'll probably go back on some of the black later, but I'm gonna move him to the side. Okay, let him dry. Now, let's see. Probably do Sally next, only because she's a little bit more complicated. So I'll rinse my brush out. And Sally's got blue skin. So we're gonna go in with that. I have like a light turquoise. Maybe more like a sky blue. And go in with that. You know what? My brush is too wet. So make sure you got kind of a dry brush because you don't want that water to seep in. Okay, so I'm gonna go in. Be careful not to cover her eyes, okay? So I'm gonna just start right around her eyes. If you get the lines a little, you can go back later, but I want to cover the majority of her face. Okay. So see how tracing this makes it so much easier to just like kind of color it in. That's why I tried to post it a little early so people could get theirs together. But if you didn't, you can always just come back later and see the video. All right. So just keep covering her face. You can go over with paint for her lips and stuff, and just a little bit. All right. You're going to want to make sure you can come in and redo those scars and stuff, because that's a big part of her appearance. So hopefully everybody's Friday is going off good. I guess it's not Friday. Hello. See, this is how tired I am. It's Saturday, isn't it? I was supposed to drop my niece off at my grandma's on Friday, so that's why I thought it was Friday today. I took her today. All right. So hopefully everybody's Saturday is going well. Hi, Kara. I'm trying to make sure I can see comments, but I might be kind of busy if I don't get back to you. Just know. And, oh, got a little on her eyeball, but that's okay. All right. So there's her face, and now I'm gonna rinse my brush off again, and I have regular red, so I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the regular red in her hair first, and then I'm gonna go back and do the metallic. The metallic is it's really rich, so it would cover. That's awesome, Kara. No, Nightmare Before Christmas isn't for everybody, but I know a lot of people that, especially like Disney fans, that this time of year, it's just from fall to Christmas time. It's a fun little movie, and my husband doesn't like it either, but me and the kids do. It's not like I have to see it every year, but it's just a fun little thing we sometimes do. So I'm gonna bring it all the way down. I should do that with her neck too. But painting is so relaxing too. Even watching it, sometimes I'll watch videos online. I watch a lot of makeup tutorials just, I'll be sitting for hours just watching them. And it's funny because I don't always like, I don't know, I don't do the tutorials, I just like watching them. But I like watching paintings too. These round brushes, I just bought these for my birthday and I love them. They're so like, they're not even expensive. They were like 10 bucks, or maybe, I know these ones are 9 bucks for the whole pack. And I think there was like 10 of them, 12. And they just work so good. I love a good round brush. Because when you can work a point and do like, right like a pencil, and then you can just push a little harder and you got like thicker coverage. Makes it easy to paint. They're great for watercolors too. But we're using acrylic. It's still good for that too. So don't worry too much about covering your lines. You're going to come back in and, you know, brighten those up later, but try not to go over them too much. All right, there we go. Just got some really red hair going on right now. Okay, there we go. All right, now I'm gonna rinse my brush off again. That's awesome, Kara. What are you doing, the tree one? That one was fun, but it was a lot of work. Hopefully you guys will have fun doing that one. All right, I'm gonna go back in with that blue and bring it up from the bottom here. And then I think for the background for her, I'm probably just gonna do black as well because there's not a whole lot of background left. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do black for her background. And I'm just gonna use the same round brush, but I cleaned it off first. So some of these aren't gonna be black backgrounds. It's just kind of these face ones are probably better to do that. I'm working on cardboard, so that's what, I can just clean my brush off on that. All right. I'm just gonna do the top black with this round brush, and then I'm gonna go back with the flat brush to do the sides because it covers a lot faster. And we got 4 more little paintings to do. So this particular tutorial is going to take a little bit longer because we have gluing and whatnot to do, but and we have to kind of wait for these to dry. I mean, not too much, but I think you guys kind of know what you're doing as far as gluing them. They shouldn't be too hard. I really wanted to get some fancy ribbon. I ended up getting really cheap. It's very papery and I don't like it. But I didn't get a chance to get to Michael's. So if you want to wait and put it on some pretty ribbon, I have just regular black Walmart paper. Like, it's very thin. I don't like that. Typically I would get like a satin ribbon Found one that had ruffles. It was really pretty. All right, so I'm gonna rinse this off, and then I'm gonna get my flat brush and do the sides. All right, there it is. Okay, come back in for that black, and just go around. She's dry, her hair anyway. Doing a little bit thinner layers this time than I normally probably do, but I want them to dry kind of fast. All right, and cover this part. One of my good friends, her and her family love Nightmare Before Christmas. Angie, if you guys are on here, I know you guys will like this a lot. There we go. Okay, cover a couple white spots and then I think we're good. All right, I'm gonna rinse that off. And now, since her hair is already dry, I'm gonna go over it with that metallic red, okay? So it can dry while we're working on the others. And then I'm gonna wait till she's all dry before I do like her scars and stuff. Should have opened this before I started. All right. So I love this red. It's like an Iron Man red. That's what it reminds me of. But it's very pretty, see? Ooh. It's one of my favorites. And this is like it's called Art Alchemy Metallic, and it's just really pretty. I love it. All right, let's see, what one do I want to use? I'm gonna use this chiseled edge brush just so I can get in there and do some her sides and whatnot. So, oh yeah, look how rich that looks. It's gonna look great. And it'll look even more awesome when it's hanging up. So try to do kind of even strokes so you don't see too many of your brush strokes in there. Come in like so. This part I'm concentrating on because I don't want to get it on the black. But look at that. Oh, you guys might not be able to see it, but there's so much shine to this and it's gorgeous. I like doing like little extra things to paintings just to make them like kind of pop. Might just be something I like to do, but I know some people do that too. All right, so there's kind of like, you can see the difference. Just her hair looks orangey in the other color, but I don't know if you can see that sheen on there. Just awesome. I love it. Everything glitz and glam here. That is my jam. Funny thing is, this is kind of the color I wanted for my nails, but we couldn't get the exact, we didn't have the exact color because she does acrylics and not like gel polish or anything. Came out great though. All right. So I'll finish this up, and then after this one, we'll go ahead and move on to Zero the dog. He's my favorite out of all of them. Him and his pumpkin nose. So if you don't have any kind of paint like this, you don't have to worry about it, but I just like being extra. Most of y'all already know that. Oh. Alright. Just looking poppin' here. Alright. Sally got a hairstyle. She's got her hair colored. She's looking good. Alright. So quiet at my house right now. Everybody's gone except for my son. He's the quiet one. So the girls, Michaela's with her dad camping. They're having a good time. And then Jaden is with my grandma. Went and saw my grandma today. So that was cool. So this was the reason I used that chiseled edge brush, so I could get in these little nooks and crannies here. Look at that, just, oh, I love it. If you can't see it, it's too bad for you because it looks awesome. It's a good thing I don't mind talking to myself because that's kind of how it feels when I'm doing tutorials. I'm glad you guys are with me doing this. Alright. There we go. Look at Sally. Ooh. Sally looking good. She's got some highlights and lowlights in her hair. Alright. Sally, we're going to move her over and then we'll go back and do the scars after we're done with some of the other paintings. So I'm just going to move her up. Ta-da! And then we're going to go with Zero here. Alright, so now for Zero, I'm going to do a purple, blue, fun little background. So he might get covered a little bit. And the hard part is that he's white. So I'm going to try to do a fun little variation to his background, but so I'm going to come in with some dark blue and some light blue. I'm just going to kind of go around, okay, with my flat brush. So I'm using that edge kind of straight up like this, right? Okay. I'm going to go around. And I just want the streaks to kind of come out. But I want movement, so that's kind of what I'm looking for. Like he's got some movement going on here. So I'm just tapping and going in, tapping, going in. And so that, see why, you can see now why I did a black, the outline on them, because once you start painting, you really can get carried away and you won't see him anymore. But he's looking good. All right. There we go. All right, so I got a bunch of white coming through, so I'm gonna go back over a little bit because I don't want that. And I don't want it to get too muddied up and just become one blue, so I'm trying to go over with some dark. Now the reason I picked blue for his background in particular is because he's got an orange nose, and I'm just thinking like, you know, opposites on the color wheel, and then he's white, so I want some, there we go, some variations in this color scheme here. All right, there we go. Making sure the white gets covered. Okay, now I'm going to go over with the dark blue on the edges. And this hopefully shouldn't take too long to dry because it's kind of a thin layer. I like these little canvases. They're a lot of fun to paint because you can kind of come up with some creative ideas. Finish these edges up. Let him dry a little bit and then we'll come back and paint him. Alright, I'm just going to touch my nail on this side. There we go. Sorry if I'm blocking the camera. Alright. Go in with a little bit more. Alright. So you guys can't see him, but I can, so that's good. But go ahead and rinse off that brush, let this background dry, and then we'll come in and paint him up. Okay, so now I'm going to move him to the side over here. I have a little glass tray. Alright, dry off my brush. And now I'm going to do the pumpkin. Okay. This one, so the pumpkin itself is going to be black, and then the background, so I decided the background is going to be an orange, okay? So I'm going to go with this dark orange first, and I'm going to go make a circle kind of around it. Okay? And you want to make sure you like get those eyes and stuff, because that's going to be like kind of the glowing part. But and then I have like a medium orange. Come in, try to blend that in a little bit. Okay. And then like a yellow. This is like a, I forget what it's called. I think it's like daffodil or something. Or dandelion, I don't remember. Have to look. So you can blend that in and get it all in there. I'll make sure this stays a little bit dark orange. Okay. See how cool that looks? It looks like it's glowing. And that's kind of what I want. Alright, and so now I'm going to go around with the dark orange. I kind of want a darker edge than the yellow. You could also do black, but it would be really hard not to go over the edges with this paint. So just finish covering these edges. All right. So I'm going to try to go fast on this part. I don't hopefully want to keep you guys up all night to do this, but I don't know if you can hear my candle. It's my wood wick. All right, let's see if I can tilt this up. Okay. Keep going. It's almost like a candy corn kind of look. That's kind of what I was going for, but I don't like candy corn, but you know, the colors itself. All right, there we go. So that's covered. Yay. All right, now I'm gonna rinse this brush off again. All right, and dry it out. Okay. So I have my fan on, I'm sure you can hear, and I do that so they dry. Oops. Lucky I didn't get that on there. So they dry kind of fast. All right, so I'm gonna put this to the side too. See, it's almost dry. All right, now this one. This one's fun. So I'm gonna do, in most of the pictures that have them together like this, there is a moon in the background. So I'm gonna try to do a moon. Let's see if we can do that with this flat brush, okay? So in order to do that, I'm gonna take a little bit of that yellow and that medium orange, okay? And I'm going to try and there we go. And just do a little moon like that, okay? You don't have to put too much, that should be good. Now, it's not quite perfect, but I want a little bit of that yellow, that orange on the outside of it, so it has like a glow. So I just put it on the edge there. Alright, so there's a little moon. It's not perfect round, but it works. I'll come in with a little bit darker orange now. Go. Oops. No, it's okay if you get it on this little hill or whatever, because we're going to paint that black. I'll see now my moon's getting bigger. All right, there we go. So I'm going to stop right there before I get too carried away. And I can actually carry it up here a little bit, but I'm not going to go too far in. Okay, so there's our moon. Okay, now we got to be really careful not to cover any of that when we go in with our background. So I'm going to do like a, it's like that dark blue and some purple. I have like a, it's like a medium purple. It's not a dark purple. So let's see how this, let me dry this brush off. All right. So I'm gonna go in with this blue here, and I'm just gonna kind of brush it in a little bit. And then I'm going to come back with a light purple and try to lighten up this blue just a smidge. I don't want to do too much because I want it to be a night sky. So you have to be really careful on this part because you don't want to go over your moon. All right. Let's see how good that looks together. I love that blue and that orange just popping. Okay. So brush this out to the edge, like so. And then this is gonna come all the way down. It was cut off here, but I brought it all the way down to the end of my come in with that little edge, work it out just with the little corner of the brush. See? So if you don't have flat brushes, I would recommend getting like a few of them. They're pretty good for coverage and doing circles, as you could see earlier. And then as long as you're careful with them, you can do pretty sharp edges with them. But okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to try to come in with some of the blue and purple together and see if I can kind of work this sky, but I don't know how well it's going to work. Maybe I want to do, you know what, I'm going to mix some of that blue and purple on my, and a smidge of black. It's kind of a gray, but I'm going to come in just the corners and kind of go around and just edge it out a little bit. See, made it a little bit darker on the outside there. Okay, I like that. I'm just going to do that then. And then I'm going to do, I'll probably mix some more of that and do that edge on the outside. Okay. So it's kind of like a gray that I'm using, that I mixed up, gray, purple, blue. So bring it all the way together here. So that way when I go to do the hill, it's not black and mixes in with it. It's just, it's got a gray tint. A little bit of blue and purple there. All right. Alrighty. So as you can see, I did the moon a little bit up to the top of this, so I'm going to try to be real careful to go around it. I'm not too worried if I get on that moon because this is on the top, but still try to go get as much coverage as possible. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to rinse off that brush, put it to the side, What brand brushes, Kara? Is that what you're wondering? Or are you talking about paint? Let me know. These brushes are called Artify. I got them on Amazon. So if you're asking about the brushes, that's what these ones are. It comes in a little, this one comes in a little packet for the flat ones. The round ones are Keep Smiling. And they come in like a pack of like 12 round brushes. So if that's what you're talking about, that's what these are. Okay, so I'm gonna go now with that black with a round brush. Okay, I'm gonna roll out that point. I'm gonna try to get this. I'm gonna go in and do a highlight in this in a little bit, but so you can see the curve of it. Yeah, so the brushes are Artify for the flat brushes. They come in a little, the little kit I just showed you is, was $11.99. It's not a bad little, I don't, like, I would love to get some really good brushes. I don't know. I have a really hard time. Even like makeup brushes, I don't even spend much on makeup brushes. So I have a really hard time like justifying it when regular, like, as long as you don't get too cheap, you're good. And if you take care of them pretty well, synthetics are pretty good, unless you're doing watercolor. Now watercolor can sometimes, if you're not using the right brush, it can get away from you. But acrylics are pretty easy to use, cheap synthetics, and not have a problem. So I don't spend a whole lot on brushes. But my brushes that I had before were all from, I had one set that I've had for 5 years, and they were just starting to come undone, and so, because I use them so much. So I needed some new brushes. But, so altogether I got a pretty decent amount of brushes for about 30 bucks. Where some of the high-end brushes, you pay that much for one brush. I ain't about to do that. And I want people to be able to do art, so when I recommend stuff, I usually try to do the most cost-effective things that you can find that are still pretty good quality, you know, because not everybody has money to do the most. All right, so that's looking pretty good there. I'm gonna cover up this white a little bit because I got some white popping through, and I'll cover that with some blue in a little bit. But all right, so this little hill is now just about done. Just carrying it over to the edge. Oops, feel pretty good about this guy. Okay, now I'm going to rinse that off, and I'm gonna get a little bit of blue and go back in because I have a little bit of white popping through, like I said. So in here. And over here. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry, and then for this part I'm gonna use a pin because it would be really, really, really hard to get in there with a brush. I mean, I could do it, but my hands aren't as steady as they used to be, so I typically try to use some cheats for that. I ain't proud. I'll let people know. Okay, I'm trying to round my moon out a little bit because it's looking wonky, but hopefully not too bad. It's kind of hard to judge from here, but all right. So there we go. I'm gonna rinse this off, put this to the side, like I said. So now when you go back and we get all this dried, you can go back and do some highlights in that black, like where the moon is shining, and I'll do that later. But I'm gonna go ahead and take Jack Skellington. Hold on just a second. All right, my nose. Okay, so for Jack, he's mainly white and then this black bow tie. So I think what I want to do is maybe try like a black and purple background. We'll see how that works. So I'm gonna go in with this purple, okay, and try to, and I'm using a round brush. You could use a flat brush. It would probably get some good coverage. So I'm gonna go in and try to get as much coverage as I can with this purple, okay? You could use any color you really want, but I want to mix this purple and do kind of like a stylized background. Kind of gonna do like, it would be cool to do a spiral kind of thing. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. So, now you can do whatever your heart desires when it comes to this, but I'm gonna do like a spiral. Just to give it some pop, I guess. So I think I'll come back down in here. And kind of draw this out a little bit. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, but some people are very particular about that, so if it bothers you, you can always do something else. But I'm gonna try to do this spiral effect thing. Let's see if I can get it to work for me anyway. Okay. All right. Looking fierce there, Jack. And this part I'm gonna paint over his little bow tie with black. Okay, so I'm gonna do this little spiral looking thing we got going on here. Try to follow it all the way around my little canvas here. See if I can make this look like it should. All right. And then up here and go. All right, so now I got the purple part of the spiral done. Just about. Okay. There we go. So his purple spiral is going, and then I'm gonna try very carefully to go back in with black for the other part of the spiral. We'll see how we do. May end up with a whole black background, but we're gonna try it. You know what? I really should do that glow-in-the-dark green, maybe. That would be kind of cool, huh? You know what? I'm going to do it. Glow-in-the-dark green. All right, so I'm going to go ahead with this marsh green, and I'm going to go in with that. And then go back with the glow-in-the-dark when it dries. Like I said, you could do whatever colors your little heart desires, but I'm going to do this, try to do this anyway. It's not a perfect spiral, but I gotta fix this purple over here. All right, concentrating, so. So I'm using this green just as like a filler until I go back with the glow-in-the-dark green. And that'll be a lot of fun because it'll kind of match Oogie Boogie here. Okay, and I'm gonna fill this purple in over here in a little bit. Typically I listen to music when I'm painting, but unfortunately there's, you know, copyright issues, but I would play music right now. When I do my classes too, I miss those. Being with people. Doing this also gives my other paintings time to dry. I'll spend a little bit more time on this one. Alright, let me put it down so you can see. Just usually holding it is easier to do these little details. So for when you go into these corners and crevices, you kind of have to make that point on that brush so you don't overdo it. So drawing lines and trying to be precise is pretty tough. All right. And right in here. I mean, technically, he would have his outfit down here, but being that it's just his head, I'm just gonna go with it. All right. It's coming out cool, I gotta say. Alright, and I'm gonna just bring this down a smidge here. And then come up with that purple on the other side. Alright. So then we're gonna let him dry. We're gonna go back to Oogie Boogie. And let me finish this purple real quick. I'll finish up Oogie Boogie with the glow in the dark paint, and then do 0 and the pumpkin. All right, so you could go ahead, you know what, I probably should. I'm gonna go ahead and paint his face, but I'm gonna do the bow tie and stuff first. I forgot I had to do this part. I was ahead of myself. There's a little bow tie. Turn it around. So hopefully after this week, my videos will be able to be just the recorded versions. I have to do some purple there. And so we'll be able to have them hopefully out in a good time. The last time, we just had a hard time getting the turnaround to be within the week, so. But my son, he's my editor, and my husband helps him, so I can't be too picky there. They do a lot to help. Okay. Now I'm just gonna bring this to a point over here. All right, and then his okay, and then paint his eyes. You know, I would paint his whole face, but it's already white, so I'm just gonna roll with it. Just to save time. There we go. One eyeball done. And you could always come back in later and touch up some white areas if you wanted to, but it's kind of grunge anyway, so. you don't mind. All right. There we go, Jack. You got your eyes looking good there, buddy. All right. I gotta paint some green and purple real quick. Get those little areas and then we'll move on. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Green. And then we're gonna come back in with that glow in the dark green in a little bit. And get that purple in there. And this little part here. Okay. We're gonna let him dry. And then we'll come back with the glow in the dark green like we said. Okay. All right, Jack, you're going to the side here, buddy. All right, now Oogie Boogie. Get him done. So glow in the dark green. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it here. No, I'm not. I'm gonna put it on my tray because. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and use this round brush again, but I really need to get it dry, so. All right. So you're gonna use kind of a thin layer. I'm putting it, so this stuff gets sticky on you, okay? So see, it looks almost like glue. So you have to kind of finesse it out and make it thin. Okay. Because it'll look like tacky glue on there. So I'm going to cover. So with this glow in the dark paint, you have to like activate it with light. So, you know, if you just have it sitting out in sunlight or you put a, like I'll put my phone flashlight on them and they seem to work pretty good that way too. So make sure you work out all those. You don't want it to look cloppy, you know. Now, hopefully I'll be able to see his face still in this. Yeah, I can. I just want thin layers of this glow in dark green. Okay, so now it looks like this. It'll glow in the dark when you go to like activate it. And I'm gonna go take this all the way out to this edge here. Should be pretty good with that then. And then I'm just gonna draw his face on when this is all dry. So that should be good. All right, he's covered with glow in the dark paint, so he's good. Now I'm gonna touch up Sally. Let me rinse this brush out. Here we go, Sally. Okay, so I have two different pens. I have this one, which is a really thin line acrylic pen. Or no, this one's not. This is a medium tip. And then I have this Uni Posca pen. these work really good. It's a fine line one. This actually I use for my leather jacket, so it's a good pen. I'm actually gonna go ahead and do her red lip real quick. And how I'm gonna do that is with a smaller round brush. And come in with that regular red. Could do the metallic red too, but I like the little, that looks good. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use this medium edge brush. You could also, or edge brush, pen. You could also use your round brushes. I have a line brush. You could do whatever works for you. I'm gonna use a pen. Make sure it's primed. And go in and draw her lines. Now I guarantee you her neck isn't that long, but all right, so I'm gonna do this upper lash line with the thicker medium point brush or brush pen. And then I'll come in with the fine lines on the other. All right, looking good there, Sally. And now, with the smaller pen, this one is very fine lines, see? I'm gonna come in, do her lower lash line. And then I'm gonna do her scars. Okay. Her nose is just like a little dash. Her lips. All right. And her scar up here. And then her lashes with this thin one. All right, look at Sally, looking fabulous there. All right, so I'm gonna move on to this one real quick. And I'm just gonna go ahead and line it while I'm here. I'm gonna show you this. I love these pens. And they're pretty inexpensive to use, like to get. And then you can just color it in. But it makes it a lot easier, especially with fine details like this, when they're so small and you really can't like get a brush in there. Like, I mean, Jack's legs are so skinny. See, now I'm gonna go ahead and just fill it in. You can use like a fine tip permanent marker, and it'll look a little bit less, have less sheen than like, but I use matte paint, so you really can't tell, but it would have less sheen than like most acrylic paints, but I mean, it'll still look good. So you can use a Sharpie marker. If you have regular, like just, sometimes regular black markers don't quite work how you want them to, so. All right, so there's Jack and Sally in Moonlight. I'm gonna come back with this edge brush. I'm gonna kind of beat it up a little bit and then go with some white. Maybe this light yellow. Okay, and I don't want too much on there. I just want to come in, see how light that is. And just fill this in a little bit. Like so. You don't want too much, so you don't want it white. A little bit of glow just to show the curve and whatnot. So that's done. Look at that. You could do stars if you wanted to. I mean, totally up to you. This is your little project. All right, next one, Zero. Let's finish him up. So I'm gonna go in with the round brush. Now I need white. I need a smaller round brush, actually. Let's do up here. And I'm gonna get a smaller round brush just for like the little parts. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fill in his pumpkin first. Now you could do like an actual pumpkin shape if you are comfortable with that, which I'm kind of trying to do. All right. Go in with a little bit more paint here. There we go. All right, so he has his little nose. I'm gonna go ahead and take that other brush out of the water. And I'm now gonna go in with the white. So grab your white with that smaller brush. And I can see his outline, you guys can't. But there we go. It's coming together. It's my favorite when I'm on the Haunted Mansion ride, and they have almost every time we've been there now, it's been the Nightmare Before Christmas themed. But I always try to get a picture of him, but it never works. So if you don't have his outline, it makes it a little bit harder to do, but that's why when I'm doing kind of time-consuming projects like this, I try to do the stencils before. Alright, and his other little ear. Yikes. There we go. Alright, it's looking sharp. Trying to get those curves without getting too crazy here. Alright. Looking good there, Zero. Alright, he's almost done. I'm gonna just do a little jack-o'-lantern in his eyeball. There we go. Looking good there, buddy. I thought for sure this was gonna be a lot harder, but he came out pretty good. Alright. Now I'm gonna do his eye. And just black dot. Right there. It's a little small, but it started. It's wet. Alright, now I'm gonna try and get the jack-o'-lantern eyes like so, and then a little green for the. Alright, I gotta fill his eye in because it got a little wet, so it's too light. Come on. There we go. Zero. Looking awesome. Okay, so you could do stars on this one too. I'm not going to for sake of time. But he is done. Him and Sally. And now I'm gonna finish up Oogie Boogie real quick with his face. So I'm gonna go in with this thin line pen. So see, I have some, you can still see the kind of the line in there from the circle. And I could cover that with green, but I'm not gonna worry about it. You guys probably can't even see it, but. Alright, there he is. Oogie Boogie. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of black right in here. Alright, so I could probably go in and fill him out a little bit because there's some like lighter like areas, but he's good for now. Alright. Get this little thing off of there. I'll let him finish drying. Alright, now the pumpkin, and I think that's about our last one. Okay, so I'm going to fill it in. I might be able to do with this one. I'm just a little worried that it might be too big. Seems to be working. So I'm not too worried about if I get kind of crazy with these lines because it's going to be filled in. And I go on the outside because this marker's thicker, right? So that way we could still get the details. So you could, like I said, do this with your round brush as long as you keep a sharp point. Hey, babe. But I love these little pens because it makes it easy for my not so steady hand. Okay, I'm gonna do this little vine and then fill it in. And then do the leaf too. Okay, so this part, you could go in with just black paint. I'm just gonna color it in. That's what this marker is meant for anyway. I love these. I honestly, as an acrylics artist, I'm thinking of getting a bunch of acrylic pens like they do for rock painting. Because sometimes when you're working and you need to do details, pens are just easier. Maybe cheating, but what else? All right, so I'll finish coloring this pumpkin in. Now you could have very well done the opposite of this, but I felt like it needed, this collection needed some bright color in there too. There was a version of it that had the pumpkin face just orange and the rest of it black, but I like the little silhouette of the pumpkin. Hey KK! Hope you guys are having fun camping. The weather is like super nice right now, so I'm sure it's nice. Okay. Just about done. And then if you're setting up to finish this up, now would be a good time to plug in your glue gun, which I'm gonna do as soon as I'm done filling this out, and get your ribbon ready. He's coming together nicely. We'll name him Charles. Charlie, as my daughter loves to say. KK's kind of cold. She gets cold a lot when we're camping. All right, and then his leaf. All right, looking good there, Charlie. Charlie the pumpkin. Look at him. Looking good there, buddy. Okay. He is done. This is done. And Jack is done. Oh, wait, no, we want to put glow in the dark green on that green. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick. So like I said with the Oogie Boogie, you're gonna have to try to finesse this green out because, like I said, it looks sticky like glue. Not sure why the formula is like that, but it is. Oop. Got a little too much there, look at that. Okay. Work that green out. Now, like I said, it's not a perfect spiral, but I worked with it. Okay. It'll be so cool to see what this looks like when it actually like does glow in the dark. Just a really fun little thing to do for holidays. Cool thing about this one is you could leave it up from October to Christmas. Ah! I have to wipe that off. Okay, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Luckily, if I get it on my nails, I can wash it off. That's one nice thing about acrylic paint. It's not permanent. Well, unless you get it on clothes, and it's a little bit different. But oy. Try not to get on the black. All right, one more little corner here. Alrighty. Looking good there, Jack. Okay. So, you should have them all done, like so. Now, Oogie Boogie, you could probably outline. I'm actually going to go ahead and do that real quick. Just because he looks a little two-dimensional. There we go. Give him a little bit of pop there. There you go, buddy. All right. So now you got to get your ribbon together. So I have my ribbon like so. And you got to pick out which ones you want together. So I want them to kind of have a variation, but so I don't know if I want to do like these because they go together. And then like this. I think what I'm gonna do is go like so. Okay, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do it later, but I'm gonna put glow-in-the-dark paint on this moon. I've decided I'm gonna do that. Thank you, Katie. All right, so get your strips. And this is kind of how you're going to space them on the ribbon. So this is just for look. And then when you're done with all this, you can hang these up with just like a tack or whatever. So I'm going to plug in my glue gun. Move my palette. Get your glue gun ready. So we're about to glue these babies. You want the, what, put the moon one between, oh yeah, that's probably a good idea, huh? Good idea, babe. All right, so that one, is that what you're thinking? Which one should we do? 0? No, I like the pumpkin one in the middle there. All right, I'm gonna do this. How's that? You like that? All right. Husband approved. Alrighty. So now I'm gonna move these, put my ribbon down. Now, like I said, if you wanted fancier ribbon, you can go ahead and do that, but unfortunately, like, I got cheap ribbon. So I want it a little bit higher. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to try and glue them down like that. And these. And I'm doing it like this because it'll just be easier to glue down. Okay, you know what? I should do Jack on top with 0, like so, right? And do Sally on the bottom. All right, so now I'm just gonna glue these down like this, and this is actually the end of the tutorial. So I want, if you end up doing this project, please, please, please tag me in it, because I would just love to see how they look. I'm gonna add some finishing touches and finesses with mine. Like, I have some touch-ups I need to do, like see on Sally, she's got some white spots. And then I'm gonna get this all finished up, but this is how it's gonna be glued down, okay? And I'm pretty sure it's pretty simple for you guys to figure out how to hot glue something. I shouldn't have to tell you. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off from here and let you guys go for the night. So tag me if you do this project, show me what you got, hang it up, let me see, and just had fun doing this with you guys. Look forward to next week. So hope you all have a good weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye.